Good morning. Good morning, all you out there. I look forward to this time together where we can connect for a time of reflection for this 4th of July weekend. I know we're apart physically, but we're certainly proving that we're not alone. We welcome you this morning to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada, where it is our mission to grow together in love, faith, justice, and joy. My name is Dave Bianchi, and I serve as your worship associate today. So we've asked everyone to stay home and view or hear us on your personal devices. Know that we still welcome all to be part of us, regardless of racial identity, age, economic circumstances, immigration status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. And doesn't that seem more important than ever in these times? So if you're someone who's viewing this and it's your first exposure to us, feel free to contact our office or go to our website for more information. And it's also where you can download a newcomer form. You can sign up for our newsletter that keeps you informed of all the great activities that go on within the UUFNN. Now you may notice at the top of your screen there's a speaker or gallery view, so you can toggle back and forth, and depending on how you want to view the service. And you will remain muted throughout the service, but you can make comments on the chat box anytime, especially during joys and concerns. So you're invited to join for coffee time immediately after the service. So I thank you for being with us. Now, let us enter, rejoice, and come in.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. I guess we're starting that again. Please stand by for technical difficulties. Sorry about this. Let me see if I can do this. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Open your hearts and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and rejoice and come in. Enter, rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice and come in.
We have a calling in the world. We are called to honor diversity, to respect difference with dignity. We are people of wide path. Let us be wide in affection. As we start this service today in love and in peace, I urge everyone who has a home chalice, this is a time to please, let's light it. There we go. If I could get mine lighted, there we go. We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also, to be welcoming to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share it this time together. Yesterday we celebrated Independence Day, when we declare our independence on July 4th, 1776. Some of the most powerful words in that document were, "We hold this truth to be evident, to be self-evident, that all men were created equal, that they were endowed by the Creator with unalienable rights, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Life and liberty. Great words. Feeling that still many in this country fight for. The right to life and the right to be free. The war of independence of this country was fought and won with the help of many slaves, women, Native Americans, and Hispanics. They believed in the ideal of a freedom, the right to be free. We believe when the Constitution of this country opens with the great and inspirational words, "We the people of the United States, in order to be more perfect unions, establish justice." Great words. We the people, establish justice. But who are those we the people? And justice for whom? Justice just for a few, because not all were included in this new justice, because not many of us were considered we the people. Because justice was not given to the Blacks, the Natives, the Hispanic women, and many, many other minorities. Remember that of those 56 founding fathers that signed the Declaration of Independence, 15 of them owned slaves. One of them was Thomas Jefferson. They did not release their slaves, nor did they want to. So we have to realize that the quotation, "all men were created equal," in the Declaration of Independence, which Thomas Jefferson penned in 1776, during the beginning of the Revolutionary War, was just a phrase and not to be considered our future reality. As we watch our televisions and read the newspapers and set our minds into one side or the other of the argument about Black Lives Matter, it's important to realize that in 1770, Crispus Attucks, a Black man, became the first casualty of the American Revolution when he was shot and killed in what became known later as the Boston Massacre. Attucks was credited by some historians as the leader and instigator of the event. A debate was argued over a century to whether he was a hero and a patriot or a rebel-rousing villain. So the revolution of this country started with the blood of a Black man. Still, this day, African Americans are still fighting for their freedom, a freedom that was denied to them after the War of Independence, a freedom that was curtailed after the Civil War, a freedom that was masked after the Civil Rights Movement. To be able to understand what is happening today, we have to realize that the recent unrest sweeping U.S. cities over police brutality is based on a fundamental inequality in wealth, land, and power that has circumvented Black lives since the end of the slavery in the U.S. As we all were told that at the end of the Civil War and the beginning of Reconstruction, free slaves were told that they would receive 40 acres and a mule, a promise that never passed. There was no distribution of land, no reparation for the wealth extracted from stolen land and stolen labor. The celebration of Black American June 19th, known as June 10th, is the day that marks that in 1865, the last enslaved people were informed of their freedom. This was more than 2 years after the emancipation. We, and I'm using the common we, are confronted with the fact that on this date, this year, is the time to protest over the continued police killing of Black people. It is at this time that we must take a very close look at what has been happening in this country and how Black Americans were deprived of life and freedom. The story of racism in the United States has held Black America for generations. But the current soul searching over this legacy is of true importance. I could present a long list of historical facts that have led to the oppress and discrimination of our Black brothers and sisters. But in reality, we don't have time to do that right here. But I would like to bring what is happening today to a more personal setting. My family is multiracial and multicultural. About a few weeks ago, just after the Black Lives Matter protest in Reno, my granddaughter, who is obviously Black, was at a grocery store. She was the last person in line to pay when a white woman, without taking into consideration that my granddaughter was standing there, just cut in front of her. My granddaughter decided not to add it, just let it go. But the white woman decided not to let it go and turned to her and said words to the effect, "You are the reason that we cannot have good things in this town." Needless to say that things escalated just a bit. And my granddaughter put the woman in her place. The offended woman paid for her groceries and left. And the cashier thanked my granddaughter for stepping in and saying what she did. This is a situation that many African Americans face every day, doing normal and everyday things that you and I do, and they have the police call on them. My granddaughter was lucky that they did not call the police on her. There has been so many moments in the last few years where everyday things could get the police call on you. Being a Black firefighter, for example, several Black firefighters were racially profiled by white residents in Oakland, California. The incident first occurred in May 16 in the Oakland Hills area, where a Black firefighter was conducting city-mandated inspections, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. The inspections called for the firefighter to inspect different yards that could have hazard fire. A white man approached one of the firefighters and began recording him with his cell phone because he viewed the firefighter as suspicious, even though the firefighter was wearing a uniform. I could go on and on with the list of things that have happened to African Americans while they're doing everyday life and had the police call on them. Sometimes African Americans get arrested. In other incidents, nothing happens. But in some occasions, like the case in Atlanta police officer who fired 2 fatal shots at Rayshad Brooks, whose only crime was falling asleep in his car at a Wendy's drive-thru. This event led to even more protest. But something that has not been said in the newspapers or in the media or anywhere is the fact that 7 Black men have been found hanging in the last few weeks. All incidents have been claimed to be suicide. Interesting that 7 African Americans have been found hanging in a week span, and they all committed suicide. Interesting. And then they wonder why the protest, why the anger, why the animosity, when it is impossible for our Black brothers and sisters to feel free in this country and this society. And they're left with only one option: to protest as loud as they can, to tell the truth, not our white truth, but the truth of oppression, murder, violence against them. I truly believe this is a time when this country and as people, we need to hear and not tell them what to do, because this is not a time to speak, but a time to listen.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, how I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we'll no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
Well, this is the time in our service when we have the opportunity to share our bounty with each other. You know, since we're not physically together to pass the basket, we can do so virtually by texting 73256, as you see on the screen, and put UUFNN in the message box, and you hit send, and then you follow the instructions to provide your offerings. Now, just to keep you confused, we're also once again sharing the plate. And this month, it is with Action, our social justice partner that we helped establish several years ago. Now, these monies will be used to help undocumented immigrants, but you have to do it separately. So if you are texting UUFNN for your opportunity to share your bounty, you do that once, and then you go back in and redo it again for the benefit of Action. So you have to do those separately. You can also mail a check to the office at 780 Del Monte Lane, Reno, 89511, or You can contact the office for the slickest and cleanest way is to donate it by signing up for automatic giving. So Carol can send you an automatic draft authorization form. You know, it's in these times when we see the real strength of our fellowship. So many of our members have pulled together in some amazing ways. I continue to witness all the volunteers who are doing so much to keep us in touch with one another. I'm grateful for the staff who are working so hard to keep the wheels turning as we move through this time together. I'm proud of Reverend Karen and the board for keeping us safe and making decisions about our future based on the latest medical information that's available. We really do care about one another. And so much goes on behind the scenes. You know, these services would not be possible if it weren't for several folks who each work to handle all the technical details that go into making a service. So a big shout out to them. So thank you to everyone who has stepped forward to make sure our fellowship is financially secure in these uncertain times. We're aware that there's some who cannot make their commitment because of the current situation. So I urge those that can to please contribute beyond our pledge. But I'm feeling positive that by all of us stepping up, we'll be stronger than ever. So thank you for taking care of our beloved community. Now, let the offering begin.
At this time, let's have David Bianchi lead us in the offertory. David, could you lead us, please?
All right, so I guess I didn't come through last time. All right. If you would join me as we bless these offerings to the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy, we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings. So someone confirm that they're hearing me. I'm getting a weird message on my computer.
We're hearing you, Dave.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Xiomara for speaking truth to power. She knows personally the horrors of racism and discrimination. As a farm boy from Fallon, I had no idea well into adulthood that my hometown had a sunset ordinance, which meant that Black people could not be in town after dark. I never even saw a Black person until I was in college, and that was my first awareness of racial problems. The favorite college hangout at that time was the Little Wall, not the one that's located across from the campus now. No, this was a little hole in the wall located where the El Dorado Hotel is. A new friend of mine asked me to help him boycott the place. I asked why, and he told me that a track star had tried to enter and was told to leave because he was Black. I was confused by that. Why would they do that? I've obviously learned a lot since then. I keep thinking that we might start learning and living up to the words of our Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal. And as it turned out, they were only talking about men, not women, and not all men. So we've made some progress over the years, but it's a slow slog. And it's not a straight line. Just when we feel that we're moving forward, a setback will occur. Minorities especially feel the pain, frustration, and too often, fear. My natural-born optimism keeps me believing that we can keep moving forward, but it's severely tested from time to time. So I want to share with you some of my optimistic views of the current situation. I have never witnessed so many people fired up about Black Lives Matter. There appears to be a sustained focus that I have never seen before. I believe the prospects for real change has never been greater. Now, people's voices are being heard. The Unitarian Universalist Association, the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada specifically have been working hard at building awareness and finding ways that we can have direct impacts. You know, Lois and I have attended several workshops about race and our perceptions. If nothing else, it makes us aware of the difficulty that minorities have faced in the past and unfortunately still do today. Now, Reverend Karen has taken us from comfort to courage in dealing with these difficult subjects. Just when you think that you might be getting a handle on it, something new happens to find out we still have more work to do. Because of our age, Lois's and mine, that puts us in a vulnerable condition that we're not able to attend any of the protests or rallies. So instead, Lois has ordered 25 Black Lives Matter signs, and we will give them away to anyone who wants one, with the caveat that they donate to a local organization that is beneficial to the movement. So stay tuned for more details on that later. Other organizations that I'm affiliated with are also working on awareness and educational programs. As many of you know, I'm active in Rotary International. It has a worldwide membership of 1.2 million members. And they just called a special meeting, something that is rarely done, to deal with the issue of racism around the globe. The financial firm I've been associated with for almost 50 years, Northwestern Mutual, has been having agency meetings about racism and LGBTQ issues as well. A special course entitled Culture of Respect is now required of all of its representatives. I find these examples encouraging. My spirits were also buoyed this month involving some other issues that I care about, like the Supreme Court coming down with some positive decisions involving knocking down Louisiana's abortion law, giving a reprieve for our DACA friends and the LGBTQIA community. And one positive result of folks staying home is that our air pollution has decreased around the world. I'm also grateful for modern technology that allows us to see and hear each other through Zoom and other services. So these are the kinds of events that keep me positive. That doesn't mean I'm not paying attention to the challenges and difficulties that lie ahead. I can always expect that there will be setbacks. I can always expect change to happen. But also know that you and I and the entire UU world are people of action. We shine a light on the issues. We look to see what we can do to help. We make a difference. We have to believe that better times are ahead. As Charles Dickens wrote, "These are the best of times. These are the worst of times." It can be both. It's whatever we want to make it. We as Unitarian Universalists continue to shed a light on the issues that deserve social justice. We can break down barriers and open minds. So let's keep working toward those words in the Declaration of Independence, that all men, and we add, all women and gender identities are created equal. So may it be.
For all that is on high, we sing our thanks and praise. For all that is a gift, which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own day glad. For needs which others serve, services we give, for work and its rewards, for homes of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. sorrow we must bear, fears and pain, the fleeting thing we learn, fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For all that is our life, sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
So how are you feeling at this moment? What's on your mind? Now, this is a time in our service when we have the opportunity to share either quietly or with each other our hopes, concerns, worries, or sorrows. So if you're comfortable doing so, would you post those thoughts in the chat box? We can then hold each other in our hearts. So let us, the time of meditation and prayer, begin. Spirit of life, thanks for this moment so that we can share with one another our joys and concerns. So may it be, and amen.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. And I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. And I'm gonna keep on
I am going to join David in saying thank you so much to everyone who has joined us today. Please keep an eye out for in your emails. There's a lot of information that is there. If you need help with Zoom or any support, or you know of anyone that does, please let us know so we could help them. If you would like to receive our emails, please fill out our online card. Share the links with folks who are feeling isolated and may need connection. And don't forget to hang in there. We will have our coffee hour 3 or 4 minutes after the service. So please hang in there for a little while. And now our closing song.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of the heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
And so we turn to you to breathe even more of your spirit into us, because we find we cannot breathe. The arms of armed force wrapped around our throats, we call out for justice. We call to you in defiance of a national system that betrays our noble deeds, where tanks and blood fill our streets, where every Black man, woman, and child is 20 times likely to be killed by police. We shout to the heavens with one unified voice: Black Lives Matter.